Jaggers to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, as we call on you this night, Lord, we're thankful that we could be here to be about the county's business, Lord. We just ask that you bless this meeting with your presence, Lord. Guide us and direct us in doing what's best for this county. By things in your name, Lord.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, I'll consider any additions and deletions to the published agenda.
Move to approve the published agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the published agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda passes, Madam Clerk. Do I hear a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. All right, this time, I'll open the floor for a public comment period. Public comment period consists of 1 hour. Each presenter will have 5 minutes to speak. First I have on the list today is Mr. Alan Longman. Good evening, sir.
I live at 234 Hamilton Road in Barn Level. Reason for me talking today is I tried to see my wife in prison over in Raleigh, and they won't let me see her or put money towards her or do anything. They keep canceling me out online, on phone, at my visits, wellness checks. I have no communication with her. Now, the problem I also have was that she was looked at here when she was abused at my house and beaten, that she was fine, supposedly. As soon as she went to the prison, they found out that her life was in danger, that she had serious injuries, that her hearing in the left side of her ear was damaged from the way she was thrown on the ground. Okay? So this got me disturbed because I was there and I didn't like what I saw, and they wouldn't let me do anything to help her. She was supposed to get help in the car, and she didn't. And she was sick after the incident, very ill, and I did not know it was that bad, and didn't have it checked out until later. She did nothing wrong. It seemed like a setup to me. I was scared to death when all these police officers came to the house. Scared for her. They came over and they beat her. This guy, Deputy McLeod, smacked her in the face all the time with the handcuffs. I told him, hey, get that man away from my wife. So Remas took him and put him away. As he was pulling him away to get him away from my wife, he fell. Now, nothing happened at the time. He didn't respond to it. He just, picked himself up. Too many people on the porch is what it was. And they got down from the porch. Everything was fine. I was ready to put her back in the house and end it. But that's not what happened. As we started moving along, some guy comes up there that came late, puts his arm up. All of a sudden, they did something different than what they were going to do. They took my wife, put handcuffs on her, and they threw her with all of their might onto the ground. Even though they testified, they did it gently, a certain way. Obviously not, if she was hurt so bad. I didn't see that. I saw a bloody mess when she got up. I'm sick and tired of this sheriff's department, to be honest with you, in general. I don't like the way things are run there. There was no reason to hurt her. She's done everything she can to this community and doesn't deserve to be destroyed. Detective, like I said before, Detective Weaver came into the court when she was on trial, came into the court with the bulletproof vest on and all of his gear, a detective in court, and came there and said, hey, you should be scared. My wife is not the scary type. And of course, she did what she had to do in life and did what she was supposed to. The point is, he didn't go to jail, because I went and raised my hand up at the judge and I said, hey, look, do you allow this to happen? She's a witness to the other person's case. She's also got a case of herself today. Why are you threatening her? Why is he allowed to come in there? When that was done by Sheriff Coates over at Wake County, when he tried to interfere in that, they turned around, the judge turned around, get the heck over to the side there and leave the woman alone. Then he got mad at him because he went and arrested her anyway. So he escorted him out of the courthouse with guards to make sure he didn't come back, to show that he wasn't happy about the way he was treated. Here, it doesn't matter. There's no law and order anywhere here. I hope to God that the Sheriff's Department's done away with. Thank God they can. I hope they put it on the ballot to do so and have a chief of police and a police force take its place. I'm tired of the waste of money. I'm tired of the liabilities that it's cost you. I'm tired of the lives being wasted and killed. The other guards in the place were so scared for her when she got to the first day in jail there that they had a camera put in themselves to make sure she was watched and took over the duty to make sure she wasn't hurt. Even they knew her life was in danger. You need to change, and we need to bring that change, and need to stop taxpayers paying for this and lives being wasted for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jerry Rivas.
Yes, my name is Jerry Rivas. Good evening. I'm looking at your consent agenda. I did not plan on speaking on this at all until I read it. This is hilarious to me. Item F, the legal department will request the approval of a pepper spray policy. The purpose of the policy is to provide guidance to eligible non-law enforcement employees of the county regarding the possession of use of county-issued pepper spray in the course of their employment. I mean, maybe the guy who reads the water meters, just hopefully this is to protect employees from like dog bites. But I worked a construction job, and I remember one day there was a guy in the bathroom, and he had intestinal flu, and some wag sprayed pepper spray under the door and about gassed the poor man out. And of course, he fell off the toilet because he was choking so bad, and he wasn't done with his intestinal flu. I could just imagine two county employees getting irritated at each other in a pickup truck and just decide to spray each other. I think it'll be hilarious, and hopefully there will be a camera in the vehicle, because stuff like that needs to be on YouTube. The other thing is, this board passed the resolution in conjunction with the Board of Education to remove Western Harnett as a polling place. And I would like to state that my personal belief is that Commissioner Brooks Matthews, there just seems to something smacks of impropriety with you being on the Board of Commissioners and the school superintendent. There's got to be some kind of conflict of interest there. Something seems unethical, and you ought to do the honorable thing and resign from one or the other. And it was interesting to note at the last Board of Education meeting, our school board awarded 16 Harnett County schools plaques for meeting expectations. Not a single award for exceeding expectations. So what is the school board policy? Strive for mediocrity? 54% of the schools in this county are below standards. You're wasting too much time up here sticking your nose in other people's tents when you should be doing something about these schools. We got a lot of ignorant children. And I'm not ignorant in a bad way. They just don't know because they haven't been taught. Go to Western Harnett High School. Go to Overhills High School. Just pick a random high school student. Ask them to name the first 5 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. They can't do it. They can't do it. And it's easy to take somebody's rights away when they don't know their rights. As far as the Sheriff's Department, it was about 3 weeks ago I called in and reported one of their Ford Explorers, number 5338, driving like an absolute idiot on Highway 87. And as soon as you call the non-emergency number, the dispatchers or whoever answers the phone, they just kind of blow you off. We just 8 months ago, paid out $4 million to the family of Pat and Brian Finch, who were killed by Deputy Kevin Letarte. That idiot's going to trial for 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in June. I wonder if Suzanne Matthews would try to just quietly sweep that under the rug, let him plead guilty to disorderly conduct or urinating in public or something like that. This county's got a lot of problems. And the thing with Mr. Matthews being on the Board of Education and here and trying to usurp the authority of the Board of Elections, it just smacks of some kind of cronyism or good old boyism or whatever kind of ism you want to assign to it. But it's just not right, and I hope the state slaps this resolution down. I really hope they do. That's all I got. I probably had more I'd like to talk about, but I'm getting old and my memory is failing. So I'll sit down there. I got 1 minute remaining. I'm going to use up my minute.
Same for me.
First Amendment, man.
No, it's my minute. You can't have it. Okay, I got a short span of attention. I'm getting bored already.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Larry Mitchell.
Commissioners, County Manager, I'm Larry Mitchell. I live at 478 Century Drive in Cameron. Lexington Plantation is the neighborhood I'm in, and I also do volunteer as a neighborhood watch. So I got doing that volunteer work. I do meet a lot of deputies when I see an issue, and they respond pretty well. But I was going to talk a little bit about the budget tonight, but I was out doing Keep Harnett Beautiful program, and some issues came up when I was doing that. I'm on Shady Grove Road. It's about a 2.5 mile road. I start from one end and go to the other end, and it's so littered right now that it'll probably take me a week or more by myself to pick all that trash up. Today, a resident where I was picking up at, he lives at 1406. He came out to talk to me, and he was grateful that he saw me out there, and he sees me out there all the time. But he's alarmed by the litter that's on Shady Grove Road. And just down from his house is Buddy Barefoot and Shady Grove Road intersection. Last week, it was kind of cleaned up. Deputy Ivy was on top of it because we found mail out there. But Sunday, I went drive by there, and there's about 30 tires laid out all over the place in that intersection. So I emailed Deputy Ivy, and he's going to look into it. But again, the business meeting you had last week was interesting. I really liked it a lot. The commissioners talking about it. Solid Waste Director Chad Bean was here at the podium talking about it for a lengthy time. And we do have an issue with the litter in our county. It's hard for one person picking this up. And I know next month is a volunteer month to get businesses, churches, and so forth to assist in the Keeping Harnett Beautiful program. So the other one is Stage Road. We've talked about this a long time. Shady Grove Road is accumulating in massive litter. It's a hazard out there. The residents contacted me in the trailer park that's out there, and they say it's not their road. And I looked at the GIS. When you enter that road, to the left is BBC Enterprises, and you click on the road, it says public road. So whose road is it? So I know someone said the lawyers are involved with this, and but Stage Road is really bad. Getting a lot of comments to go to Bun Level Irwin Road. I did that last year, and I'll be back out there because they say it's getting severe. So I'll be back out there probably after I finish with Shady Grove Road. But we do have a lot of serial litter bugs in this county, and that's what I call them. So the citizens are seeing my app where I do post what I find out there, and they're really concerned about what's going on. So please continue the leadership on this topic, and if we get more citizens involved, the better off we be. Consider this when you talk about rezoning to a commercial. Ask the potential business, how will you assist in keeping our county environmental free? You probably don't have much leeway in finding them or anything, but bring it up. See what they say about it. Like on Shady Grove Road, General Dollar bags, you can draw a circle around their store, and I find them things all over the place. So businesses should be looked at and ask them when they do a rezoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Miss Sarah Lee.
Sarah Lee, Lillington. It's really concerning that that gentleman back there had talked a few meetings back, concerned for his wife's welfare and that she could potentially be beaten up and potentially killed. And here we are. She's not in a very good shape health-wise. So I really hope that you guys really take to heart the things that we're saying, because I am a believer, and I believe that God often takes those of us who are in safe, comfortable places full of blessings, and he puts us in circumstances where he drops us on the other side, and we think, oh, you know, we're amongst the black sheep. But actually, we're amongst the least of these. We're amongst the people that Jesus would rather hang out with. So that being said, the consent agenda, when you're talking about the furniture for DSS, I attended the DSS board meeting this last time around, and they were talking about that. It's mahogany furniture. It's supposed to be nice. I understand that contracting private contracts with the government is going to be very costly. My husband's a correctional facility officer for the state, and he talks about crazy contract costs all the time, like TVs that cost thousands of dollars where you can just go get one at Walmart for a couple $100. So I get that. But I'm going to encourage you guys to actually start talking to the social workers and seeing when you guys have extra funding, what they need to do their jobs. Do they need mental health assistance, support for going out there and actually working with kids that are abused and they get that secondary trauma? Do they need vehicles? Are they working with parents that needs transportation? Do they need vacation time? You can't do that job and not have a break every once in a while. What do they need? Because renovating the new building is good. We need that. But giving them what they need from their own mouths to do their job in a good way is going to be less of us advocates on their case not doing their job correctly because they have the proper tools and resources to do their job. Lastly, please don't give pepper spray to social workers. There'll be massive lawsuits on your hands, more than the one that's going on in the state now. Because parents are assumed by law to be fit parents, even when social workers are dealing with them until a judge says that they're unfit. So we don't want altercations happening when there's a lot of trauma in taking children already. Lastly, with the 3 minutes, I was going to do like a 5-minute educational piece that I educate my parents on when I work with them, but it's going to be a little bit short because those other issues needed to be addressed. So one of the things I do as an advocate is when families come to me, whether they're foster families, adoptive families, or natural families, they might be relatives or parents, is I do a structured intake with them and I teach them about parental rights and responsibilities because the two are never separate. Rights cannot be without responsibilities, and that's for any kind of rights that you're talking about. But parental rights are really super important. I will be emailing you guys all this so that you can take time to educate yourselves about it. But it's based on federal and state constitutions, and it's over 25 shepherdized relevant citations of federal and state case law, state statutes, and state agency policy and procedure regarding parental rights and the protections of them. It covers things like once my children were born, the legal term of parent and the presumption of parental fitness both automatically applied to me. I learned that both rights and the responsibilities of being a parent were also derived when my family unit was created. The creation of my family and to raise up my children have been deemed essential by Supreme Court rulings. My parental rights are fundamental rights tied to liberty interests. They have been derived from intrinsic human rights, and my parental rights are also civil rights. I have private property rights over my children. However, the Supreme Court says that our familial bonds are way more important than property rights over our children, the connection that we have because we're human. You can't have that connection with something that's immaterial and not a human being, or you shouldn't have that connection. Also, this bond and association are vital interests to parents in regards to family integrity, nurturing, and autonomy. Familial bonds lead me to act in the best interest of my children. I acknowledge that my responsibilities towards my children fall under a minimum parenting standard with a duty of care enacted underneath the minimum parenting standard. It means that I provide all the basic needs of my children, including safety, and those are what yield me the constitutional protections that we talk about in case law. Giving my children the basic things that they need, including safety, and I'm supposed to be protected by the Constitution. Unfortunately, that is not how child welfare issues and family court issues work, but we're trying to work on that as advocates. Thank you for your time.
Thank you much, ma'am. Mr. Richard Chapman.
Richard Chapman, 5220 Christian Light Road. Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking Commissioners Jagger and Matthews for the town hall that they conducted last week. Overall, it was pretty good. Not great, but not bad for something that neither you commissioners nor the public are particularly used to. We had a good crowd show up. They were respectful of one another's ideas, and overall, for the first time, it went pretty well. I hope follow-ups are to be scheduled, and I hope town halls will occur in the other 3 commission districts as well. As you might expect, residential development came up, and the discussion showed there's a lot of apprehension out there about this county, how this county grows, and the effects of that growth on all of us. People are coming, they're coming fast, bringing their kids to our schools, their cars to our roads, and their problems to our communities. In other words, they're creating an impact and driving up costs. Yet, as Commissioner Jaggers noted, the state bars counties from charging impact fees on developers. They can waltz into Harnett, throw up stick homes, and waltz out again without having to contribute to the increased costs to our county for schools and law enforcement, to name just 2. That doesn't make much sense to me. What makes even less sense is why Harnett puts up with it. We ought to be shouting from the rooftops about rooftops, letting the General Assembly know that a ban on impact fees isn't working in Harnett and needs to change. Maybe for other struggling counties as well, but at least for Harnett. And yet, I don't remember seeing anything on the county's list of legislative priorities that mentioned opposing the impact fee ban so developers can begin paying their fair share of the mud they track on our way of life. Why aren't we mad as hell about that and doing something? Seems to me that if Jim Bergen is willing to carry a local bill stripping the ability of the Board of Elections from using schools as voting sites, he ought to be able to carry a local bill exempting Harnett from the ban on impact fees. Why aren't we making noise about that? Why do we just sit around and take it? We used to have a lobbying firm that represented Harnett and Raleigh, but you did away with that because it was too expensive. But maybe we should bring it back and expand its role, make it less of an administrative asset and more of a mechanism for speaking out, for making sure Raleigh hears us. Instead, we stay silent. Why? We ought to have Penny, Pike, and Bergen in here at this very lectern every quarter or so to tell us what they're doing and let them know what we need them working on. Don't you think the public has a right to get that kind of information? Wouldn't you benefit from that kind of information? Instead, we serve the guys submarine sandwiches once a year and never hear from them again. I bet we'd hear from them if we had a lobbying firm making noise and shaking things up. And not just about impact fees. Elected state officials are this county's early warning system about incoming trouble in the way of funding cuts from both Raleigh and Washington. Why aren't they in here giving us advice about fiscal storm clouds on the horizon, such as changes to the low wealth school funding formula or cuts to federal payments for free and reduced price meals in our schools? Do you really think Chainsaw Elon Musk and the Doge Boys wouldn't cut lunch programs for kids in a heartbeat if they could? I do, and it keeps me up at night, just as I'm sure those issues keep Commissioner Matthews up at night as well. Shouldn't we be fighting back, speaking out, shouting from the rooftops? Here's the thing. Washington and Raleigh will never care about Harnett County unless we give them a reason to care. Not behind closed doors, out in the open, in public, for all to hear and get behind. That's what those microphones in front of you are for. Use them.
Richard, I have something. I want to respond to your speech. And I wholeheartedly agree with your speech, except for one thing. I have lobbied with Jim Bergen as well as Representative Penny on impact fees. Because I truly believe what's happening to our county is wrong. If these contractors gonna come in here, I do believe that they should be paying impact fees. But there's nothing none of us can do about that because it has to be moved by the state. But I just want to let you know, I'm not sitting up here for nothing. I recognize the needs of the citizens in this county. And I recognize the need of what is being done to us with all these houses and rooftops growing up here in this county. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Mr. J. Sills.
.206 West D Street, Irwin. On the 7th of March, 7th of March is Friday, first Friday in the month. I saw a Harnett County black vehicle going so fast I couldn't even catch up with it if I wanted to. Coming over here towards Lillington from Dunn, starting about the Zaxby's. No blue light on. When it passed me, I tried to catch up with it, but it was no use. And as a former officer working with 6 police chiefs in 3 counties, I just knew that there wasn't quite right. And I reported to several people. I understand from Major Wood that it was somebody going to a call or somewhere, but if you go over 70, according to the sheriff, you're supposed to have your blue lights on, which this vehicle didn't. So the main thing, to cut the long story short, I don't want to get run over by nobody going to any call. I don't care what the call is. If you can't get your blue lights on and get over here wherever you're going in safety, don't put me at risk. I don't care if the building's on fire and everybody's getting burned up. Don't run over everybody else trying to get here, because then you're going to get rescued trying to act like you're going to a call. We don't have the log of who's on the road, but when we see them, y'all are not there. We got to determine what we're going to do quickly. 3/4 of a second from my radar training is our reaction time. But a vehicle going as fast as some of them do, you don't have that. You don't have time. You're not even thinking about it. When you hear something go by, you know, what is that? And you see it's a black and new vehicle from the county with no blue lights on. You don't get a chance to respond. And as a former officer, I was taken back. Major Wood has talked to me about it. I don't want to say that something's going on when it's not. When you see these vehicles, no matter whose vehicle it is, and this one was the county's, I understand it, according to the insignia. But when you're going so fast, why do we have to be put at risk when they don't even have on their blue lights? No matter what call you're going to. If they're robbing every store in Littleton, do y'all want to get run over by somebody not even having their blue lights on? Your family could get run over just like mine. And I'm getting too old to get run over. My back kills me sometimes. But yesterday I followed one which I understand from the major that it was some other county's vehicle in the rain, just hauling ass from the bridge in 95 all the way over here to the big intersection. That's where I caught up with them at. Raining at times, you couldn't even hardly drive no more than 45. They turned on the back yellow bar lights about Buies Creek. But no matter whose vehicle it is, don't these people who are trying to help respect the community that's on the road, no matter who it is, and don't even put on your blue lights. You know, I don't know what the resolution is, but we got too much loss in the community already. I don't want to look for a check after I get hurt from nobody because I want somebody to do something for them. I don't want no pain and then say, well, you got to pay this and that. The county may pay. I don't want all that. I want somebody to handle it before we get hurt. You know, that's what I'm saying. When you work at the police department, the main thing is don't get hurt at night. Go home, because a lot of the times, if you go to court, they're going to give them a little fee and fine no matter what it is. A fee and fine ain't worth none of us getting hurt, whether it's the major, his captain, or the sheriff, anybody. Nobody wants to get hurt because somebody's got a call. Take your time getting there. As my first chief, Jay Cotton, used to say, he died July 4th of 94. Don't go out here getting yourself hurt. This ain't TV. This is real business. Don't be chasing folks and running like a wild animal. This is not a Mad Max movie. This is real life. That's what I'm trying to get through to all the people I talk to. Some of the people over here, when you call them, they get an attitude if you talk loud. I've always talked loud because if you deal with people on the street, you got to be heard. Some people can't hear. And I try not to talk loud because some folks, if you're 6'3", 330, they get intimidated. But the thing is, we got to slow down, folks. I don't care what deputy it is. I don't care what they're going to. I don't care who the sheriff is, Democrat or somebody who just got up out from under the bridge over there sleeping in Irwin. Who the sheriff is got to be responsible for all his people. Based on respondent superior, he can be charged with the actual crime. I know I was going to get the red light. I knew it. But the thing is, do you want your family run over by anybody for any call, FBI or anybody? I don't. And I know I may get thrown in jail now because I got the red, but we got to be more careful. And I don't want the lawyer to take out papers on me because I can get it dismissed probably. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, this time I will now close the floor for public comment period. We'll move on to the public hearing.
Hi there. Good evening, Commissioners. Sarah Arbor, Harnett County Development Services. We have two text amendments that we are bringing before you all tonight. Our first one is Case Plan 2501-0002. This is a proposed text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Section 2, sections titled Zoning Map. So the purpose of this text amendment is to revise the language about how the official zoning map is maintained and certified, which reflects changes in practice due to the increasingly digital world that we are living in, as well as brings it into compliance with General Statute 153A50. So currently, our code reads that the official zoning map will be maintained by the GIS department in physical paper form. Now our ordinance, what we are proposing, will read that it will be maintained digitally, available publicly on their website. And that also, upon validation by the planning director, the county clerk may certify an official version of the zoning map, and that is, of course, to comply with the general statute. The planning board did vote 4-0 to recommend approval of this proposed text amendment, and staff is open for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for staff? This time I will now open the floor for public hearing for the change for the Harnett County Unified development ordinance. If anybody would like to speak at this time, now's your chance. Seeing nobody move, I will close the floor for a public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the text amendment.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the change of the UDO. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. All right, we'll have another public hearing.
Oh, right. So another text amendment, Plan 2502-0001. And this is a proposed text amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 3, Sections 8.2.3 and 8.4.1. So this text amendment is being proposed again by Harnett County Development Services, and it is a revision requested for Section 8 subdivision review procedures. So this will result in 3 changes here. We will be adding a check in our chart so that it does explicitly state that a soil report is required for minor subdivision. We've done a couple of housekeeping items, just changing department names around just to correct those so that those have been updated to read the correct department names. And then lastly, we have added language that we worked with the Environmental Health Department to our ordinance. Again, just describing the requirements of the soil report, just so that the commissioners are aware. This is not a change in practice. It's been a long-standing practice by both the planning department as well as environmental health to include a soil report with our minor subdivisions. This is just to make a correction. This has somehow been mistakenly omitted from our code or just was not added at the time or lost throughout the years. So the planning board at their meeting earlier this month did vote 4-0 to recommend approval. And staff is open for any questions. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I have one question. I'm going to divert this over to your colleague, Mr. Locklear, because I think you probably know the answer clearly. Scroll back down to where you said about the soil science report. Will you be accepting the evaluation from a registered soil scientist in lieu of our in-house folks for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That matter of fact, that's what it.
I think the law's been changed where you can accept them all the time now, but I hate somebody to have to hire somebody like Southeastern Soil to come in, evaluate it, and then spend the money again for our people to go out there on a minor subdivision.
Yeah, no, not on minor.
Okay.
You don't go back out there on minor subdivisions. That's the private soil scientist does the initial review of it.
Good enough. That's all I need. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions, comments for staff? This time I'll now open the floor for a public hearing for proposed text amendment Plan 2502-0001 for review of minor subdivision. Would anybody like to speak for or against this time? Please, Mr. Rivas, keep it according to the change of the UDO.
It is of interest that I note that we are proposing to spend an amount that not exceeding $91 million to finance construction.
That's on the next public hearing, Mr. Rivas.
Is it?
It is.
All right, I jumped the gun. I apologize.
I'll get to you in
I
3
will be
minutes.
over there.
Sounds good. Would anybody else like to speak during this public hearing for the UDO change? At this time, I'll close the floor for public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the text amendment.
I have a motion and second to approve the proposed text amendment change for Plan 2502-0001. Is there any further comments, questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. Jerry, you got me flustered up here. I'm trying to.
You'll be all right. Take a drink.
Item 8, public hearing concerning entering in an installment financing contract for the Flatwoods Middle School. Who would like to handle this? Brent?
I can, sir. Mr. Chairman, what you have before you is a call for a public hearing. In accordance with the guidelines, this has been advertised in the newspaper, and now we have an opportunity for the citizens to speak on it. regarding either questions, concerns for the county to enter into an installment financing contract and documents to issue debt to construct the Flatwoods Middle School.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for staff? This time, I will now open the floor for a public hearing concerning entering the installment financing contract for the Flatwoods Middle School. Mr. Rivas, go ahead. Yes, sir.
I understand the need for new schools in Harnett County because of the unrestrained growth that we have experienced really for about the last 25 years. But what concerns me, the thing that's not being addressed are these blasted temporary huts behind the schools. If you go behind Highland Elementary, it looks like a Mogadishu trailer park back there. There aren't even bathroom facilities in a lot of these huts. 8, 9-year-old kids have to walk outside in inclement weather, go all the way to the main building through an unlocked back door. And yet, when it comes to voting places, you guys talk about school security. It's non-existent. It's just a meaningless catchphrase. But you got to improve the facilities we got. You have to upkeep them. You have to upgrade them. You have to modernize them. Maybe you just ought to have a moratorium on building in Harnett County for about 2 years. God knows the tax revenue that you guys waste is bad enough. You got enough money. But something needs to change, because I'll tell you the kids are the ones that are suffering. Our kids are being left behind. North Carolina ranks between 46th and 48th in the nation on per capita expenditures per student, depending on which studies. I believe they were averaging a little over $11,000 a year per student. There are some states that are hitting close to $18,000 a year per student. I understand throwing money at something is not always the answer, but we have more than half of our schools are underperforming. That's where the focus needs to be. You can build a nice, beautiful building, but if you have a poor curriculum controlled by the federal government, it does no good. It does no good. And I wonder about the architects that we end up choosing, just like this building here. I would like to meet the architect who designed a 4-story building and was stupid enough to only put 2 floors in it. Is that who we're going to have build a school? But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you,
sir. Anybody else like to speak? And please this is regarding entering into debt,
Yes.
contract for debt in order for us to build a school.
Yes, I just want to throw it out there that I believe that I mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the very first time I introduced myself, that I did get married and move here from Rockingham County. And one of the really cool things that I liked about how they were planning long-term for their community as far as education goes is they had I think it's like a 5, 7, and 9-year plan that I actually got to look over. And I don't know if you guys get the opportunity to look over what Rockingham County did for their long-term plans for the educational buildings and looking at the growth and stuff in the county going up. But it was fantastic. The numbers were there. They, the county constituents, we all approved of it as far as, this looks financially stable, sound. It addresses the needs now and long-term. But that's something that I just suggest that you guys might look at when you're looking at financially long-term for the educational buildings, because one of the things I deal with as an advocate are parents angry that their kids are going to school in conditions that CPS would probably take their kids for in their own homes. So it is important to address those things. But I highly encourage you to look at Rockingham County's long-term plan when it comes to the educational buildings and the finances, because like I said, it was great. Thank you guys for doing this too. I've been to too many county commissioner board meetings where people will come up and be like, hey, education and the buildings, we need to work on it, and they don't do anything. So I see you guys are doing something about it. So that's appreciated.
Miss Lee?
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I just want to touch on something. We actually have a capital improvement plan, which we look out 7 years. And we get
That's
that through
awesome.
the Board of Education as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see that if possible from someone, because I like to look at those things.
Online, or we can get it to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Would anybody else like to speak for this public hearing? This time I will now close the floor for the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the entering into the installment financial contract.
Second.
Motion and second to enter into the installment financial contract for Flatwoods Middle School. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. This time we will consider the adoption of a resolution approving an installment financing contract and delivery thereof for Flatwoods Middle School.
It's okay.
Redundant?
It's okay. So what you have before you is the actual resolution. So now we've had the public hearing, and so now the actual resolution that you'll need to approve, basically, and I can read the title, Resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Harnett, North Carolina, approving an installment financing contract and delivery thereof and providing for certain other related matters. So basically, this is several pages through that's available online, but in a sense, this is the installment financing contract, which allows us to enter into an agreement to issue that debt. We will have to go out and issue that debt. It also approves the deed of trust, all of those financing documents, the IRS documents. There's a whole slew of them, but basically that's just giving us the permission, the manager and me as your finance officer, to enter into those agreements and then to issue that debt and then to start that project. And I do believe the Board of Education approved their documents today as well.
Any questions, comments for Ms. Honeycutt?
Motion to approve the resolution, the amended.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the resolution approving an installment financing contract and delivery for Flatwoods Middle School. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. County Manager's Report, Mr. Trout.
Thank you, Chairman. A couple of items tonight. I want to make you aware that the Charters of Freedom dedication, we have the pedestals have been built, which have the Constitution, the amendments to the Constitution, Civil Rights Bill, and the Bill of Rights are now in place, and they are lit if you get a chance to go out there. That'll be May 31st. We'll provide more information as it relates to that as far as exact time, but that's a Saturday, the Saturday after Memorial Day weekend. We'll bring more information with the exact time and so forth, but that'll be conducted here. The other thing that was added was staff working with a contractor have installed lit bollards along the walkway of Veterans Park. It is a very nice place to be at night now. It's lit up and easier to see the monuments at night. If you happen to be in the area at night, you go by and look. It's a really nice improvement to the Veterans Park. Budget sessions are going well. 20 meetings so far and 8 more to go. And we will have gone through with meeting with each of the directors regarding information. They've gone very well. There have been expansion requests, and we'll sit down after we've reviewed those at the beginning of April and make decisions on recommendations to the board. But good stuff that's been happening, good ideas going forward, and look forward to bringing that budget to you. I do need a motion to approve budget amendments as requested by the finance.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, second, third, to approve the budget amendments as requested by the finance officer. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Budget amendments pass.
Also, I need a motion to approve requests from the NCDOT to add SR 1364, which is Joseph Alexander Drive in Ballardswood subdivision, to the state's secondary road system.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second to add SR 1364, Joseph Alexander Drive in the Ballard Woods to the secondary road. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion approved. Is there any new business to come before the board? Do we have a need for closed session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion and second, we are adjourned.